Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Get Naked show with Dr. Auda. I am twice for today, and I'm back with one of my favorite couples. I've had them on my show before, and we had a lot of technological issues, but it seems like we're having some tiny ones today, but that's not going to stop us from the message they got for us. And I want them to introduce themselves naked style. So welcome to the show, my beautiful couple, Boyle.
Thank you. Hoping that you can hear us.
Yeah. Yes, if you're listening, if you're watching, please let us know that you can hear because we are having some issues with the audio. Go ahead. Yeah. Welcome.
You appreciate you. Last time we couldn't have much of a conversation because I think the dog barked and something spilled behind you.
The Wi-Fi went and some mailman came to the door. It was just everything. But, I wanted to have you guys back on because you define to me what it means to work on your relationship. And obviously, Get Naked is all about talking about relationships and relationships to your source, relationships to yourself, relationship to those close around you so you can be your best with you first before you give it to those around you. And you guys exemplify that for me. And I love what you do. I mean, I see your lives. I see this and I love it. So that's why I have you back on because I feel we all need to hear this more. And if I can be a voice to put this out to the world, then I'm doing people a service. Honestly, relationships are the most important thing in the world. Without relationships, all the money and accolades will mean nothing. And for that, it takes work. So can you guys tell me a little bit about the awesomeness that you two are?
You want to start? You want me to start?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure how much of our story was conveyed last time or if you were able to put it out, but I think that I realized it's been 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Ara, I said to Tracy, I don't feel anything. I don't feel scared. I don't feel excited. I just don't feel. I got lost in the shuffle. I didn't know where or how to go and fill my cup back up. I felt like I just needed to grind. And so the way that I filled myself back up was by going and working harder at work because my understanding of love was to go and provide for my family. So I went and ground harder and harder and harder. And then in order to get some level of joy, I went and I did triathlon. So I went 12 hours a week. I was training and just so that I could feel something.
We had a 1-year-old and a baby at this point.
That's crazy. Oh, I can. Yeah.
I was just trying to feel. I was trying to figure myself out. I didn't understand completely how to fill my cup up. I didn't understand really how to put my full soul into everything that I did. I didn't understand where to put my investment of time and energy. So I put it all into trying. Like I spent more time and energy and money investing in trying to find clarity about who I am, what I'm all about, how I fill my cup up, what makes me tick. And I almost a couple years ago, I almost burnt our lives to the ground. I was working harder and harder, trying to keep up, trying to grind harder, trying to feel. I've done live events, week-long events. I've studied human behavioral psychology. I literally almost had to, the water had to get so hot in our relationship and in our life.
Well, we turned into roommates. We really weren't, like, we'd go on date nights and we'd sit on our phones the whole time. We would be on a date night and he would have his buddy waiting for us. I think it's frozen.
No.
He would have his buddy waiting for us at home while we were on a date night, so that when he got home, he could actually go and have fun because we had gotten so disconnected. So
we didn't know really how to connect at any point. I mean, I got to a point where I went and did Warrior Week with Garrett White about a year and a half ago, and it was, I took me so far down into my pit. I had to get to. We talk about rock bottom. They take you down to your rock bottom and they build you back up. But that's not my point. My point was that I've been starting to synthesize all of the different pieces from everything I've learned and studied. I really started to realize that I now know for me what fulfillment, or how I uniquely define success and fulfillment. Now I've got a lens that I can look through so that I can go and create that constructively. I'm very good at also creating it destructively, as Tracy likes to point out regularly. But I will fulfill my definition of success, whether it's constructively or destructively. But what it now is, now that I've got this lens, and when I teach it, I call it the king or the queen's fuel, which is basically just a series of our most important non-negotiable values that we define success by. And it's unique to each of us. There's about 3 to 5 of them I've found when I do this process with people. But what I've been able to do is being able to apply it to our relationships. Now, we've got, Tracy and I have several habits that we do now for our connection. We have a walk and talk every morning, 15 minutes. We have a date night on
5:30 in the morning. Let's say this,
5:30 in the
everybody.
morning.
They're not cuddling. They are getting out of their butts and they're walking at 5:30 in the morning. Okay, I just needed to say that. Sorry.
And then we've got a date night on Wednesday nights where we go and hike and then go for dinner. And then we've discovered with our Friday, we have a date night every Friday. And there's certain dates that we've learned that we really enjoy. We do standard massage date once a month with dinner afterwards. We do a standard float tank once a month with we discuss our epiphanies from our meditations after the float tank. And once a month, it's my job to design a date. I do this well ahead of time. I do this 3 months ahead of time when I do my 90-day challenges. And what I do, I have to look through my lens, so that I'm enjoying the date. I also have to look through her lens so that I know that when she shows up to that, this is something that is actually being of us. And I don't tell her what I'm doing on the date, not until the day of. So it creates that level of excitement that it's just like you're for the first time again. The challenge is once a month. She has to do the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of time and energy that we put into some of this stuff, but you have no idea. It's fun. It builds us. It's the investment that we put into our relationship. And I think that you speak a lot about this, Ara, is that the most important person to each of us is actually us.
Mm-hmm.
You is us. And then we can go and fill up other people's cups. But
Yep.
we learn from a young age. I think women learn from a young age. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we martyr ourselves for everyone else. We give to everybody else, and we don't give to ourselves. But then we start to realize that if our cup isn't full, we get burnt out. We end up getting sick, and we're no good to anybody. Men, on the other hand, I'm just saying men in general, generalizing. The masculine trait is to go and provide and grind and come home and flop and it, types of patterns don't work. We need to be building our relationships, investing in our relationships just as much as our business, just as much as our bodies, just as much in our fulfillment. When one of the things that we do with Men of Iron, which is what Dr. Ed and I like to do, is we look at our body, our being in fulfillment, our balance in our relationships, and our business as equals. As soon as you start investing in one more than the other, one starts to get weakened and it draws you back into with a fire, right?
Put down, right? So
You'll end up burning it down. So the strength of all 4 of those build the foundation you can go and build monuments with. You can build cities upon. As soon as one of those pillars weakens, your whole foundation starts to crumble. And I mean, I never understood that. I thought working harder and providing for my family was exactly what I was supposed to do. Yet I wasn't investing in her. I wasn't investing in
Yeah,
me.
we weren't investing in.
We weren't investing in each other. I wondered why life was starting to crumble down. I had no idea of the concept or how to go and do it. I tried. We had date nights for several years, but again, we would go and sit and we would each do this. And this was our date. Right? That's literally what we did. It's just the only way that I knew how to go and acquire what I needed generally was pretty destructive.
Well, what happened with our date nights is they just got repetitive. We'd go out for dinner. It was the same thing. We'd go to the same restaurant, and we really didn't really talk much. We'd, like he said, we'd be on our phone the whole time. It was just kind of like neither of us looked forward to it anymore. It was, for me, it was kind of like a waste of a babysitter, because I'm like, I have a night out, I want to go have fun, and it wasn't. And it really, I think it wasn't until we figured out like your king's fuel and my queen's fuel, and we saw that adventure was something that we both really enjoyed to do, that brought us actually back together, because now it's something we can go constructively do together.
Mhm.
And I think important in couples is just finding that thing that you actually really enjoy doing together.
I always say that you have to, yes, you both have to have your values and set this ladder, and you have to find some common ground, common values, common likes, common hobbies, common projects, right? And so that you can then keep going up and you fuel each other by those ladders, because yes, one is going to come down and up and life is going to happen and children and who knows and businesses and all that, but if you're strong in that parallel high rise, then you can face everything else. Because so many parents and so many people I see, no, because especially moms, okay, no, I have to be with the kids. I mean, I had an issue with my first husband. He didn't want to go on dates because he didn't want to leave the kids alone. Thank God he doesn't listen to my Facebook live. But please don't tag him on this. Great guy, he's my first husband, the father of my kids. But I hated that. I was like, dude, and if you were invited places, he's like, no, the kids are little. I don't want to leave anybody. Why don't you go by yourself? I was like, okay. And and it was detrimental to our health. But again, we become lazy. And so when you started becoming lazy, because you guys are doing all these things to keep you on track. So you will think you are awesome, because I think you're awesome. Many people think you're awesome. So when you notice yourself, what is the thing that just brings you back to the game, shall we say, or to the to the good habit? Because we get to 10, oh, you know what? The kid is not feeling good. Let's not go to this one. And before you know it, you have let 3-4 things happen, or it's cold in the morning. Let's not do the walk, blah, blah, blah. What is it that keeps you coming back to those habits?
All right. So 2 things. One of the things that I preach, particularly with my men of iron gentlemen, is there's a mindset, and the mindset is that you have to be more committed to the habits than the results. Okay? The one day that I come home and I say I'm just going to miss my workout, or I'm just going to miss my greens, or I'm just, you know what, I'm tired, I'm not going to go say I love you to my daughter. The one day that I miss my date, you know what, tonight, let's just pass that up today. Okay, the mindset of, pardon my French, Ara, but if it they, you start to say that starts to permeate into every other aspect of your life, and then it becomes easier to just do the easy thing. But you actually have to be so committed to the habit, not the result. Everybody wants to have the greener pasture right now, but they're not committed to the daily habit. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, every 90 days, one of the things that I am absolutely committed to is renewing the next target that pulls me further. And most people I have found are not willing to take the time to do that. Yeah. Because we're busy. We have stories. We're busy. Too many things are going on. It's funny. We'll do it typically in our business, We'll have business meetings. We'll track key performance indicators, but we don't measure anything in our relationships, in our marriage. We barely measure anything in our other than the scale from time to time. God forbid we measure our fulfillment. And this is one of the things that I started doing about a year and a half ago, is actually measuring my King's Fuel. How much adventure, how much accomplishment, how much inclusion, how much edge am I getting on a weekly basis? And it's my job to constructively go and create that. But
Yeah.
without like looking at it and then changing and course correcting on a regular basis, we just go back to how do I feel? It's very similar to what happens with our patient. We don't have any form of objective outcomes show whether a patient is progressing with their functional care or going backwards. They will automatically default to how do I feel. I can't tell you how many times you'll sit there on the couch next to your boyfriend, your wife, your wife or your husband, and sit there and go, "Well, I assume we're okay. We're okay, right? Right? We're okay. I think, right? I assume." Meanwhile, the person sitting next to you is angry and resentful, but being nice, and then all of a sudden it bursts.
Well, and we used to always pride ourselves on that we didn't fight. We didn't fight ever.
We just avoided each other.
But we would just avoid difficult conversations is what it was. And so when we actually started, not fighting, but colliding. We actually collide super well right now together, in the sense of like, I'll get my point across, he gets his point across, and he usually needs to see my point, and he will eventually see that.
It is so true. It's not about not fighting. It's about communicating. Find your way to communicate. Because I didn't fight for 16 years with my first husband. Yeah. We never fought because whatever I said went, pretty much. Again, don't tag it. And it was just, and I was going crazy. I would do crazy stuff just to see if I would, because I wanted that comeback. I wanted to feel there was a person there that cared enough to give me his opinion, to let me see a different point of view through different glasses. I think it's the not fighting sometimes is not even healthy. Are you talking? Are you sitting down every 3 months, 6 months, however? I love the 90 days. And just reassessing where your relationship is and where you want to go, just like you would with businesses. But this is, honestly, we need this more, because nobody's talking about it, especially guys. And you know this with Men of Iron. This is talking about relationships. So when I have men in my Get Naked and we're talking about feelings, about planning out and your true values, and it's hard. They're like, oh, I don't know. Or they write one thing and they're like, that's it? I don't know. Nothing else. Everything is perfect. You know, I don't feel anything. It's all good. And we're like, oh boy. So we have to dig deeper. We women tend to be a little bit more emotional, expressive, and sometimes we shut down too. And that's good. But I love that. I love the reassessing. And I know you guys are going on a date.
One of the things too, though, is it's great to be fully expressive and emotional. But again, without any facts to be able to quantify those emotions, you guys can be more expressive. We can just be ignoring it all. But again, that's what we do. We like to just sedate our brain from the fact that there's a feeling there. God forbid, right? So that's one of the other reasons why I feel that it's so important that you have some way of measuring what's going on. Particularly if we're trying to improve something. There's otherwise, again, we define how well we're doing based on feelings, and we all know where feelings can take us.
Let me ask you, if somebody's listening to us right now, and let's say it's a woman, let's just say, if a woman's listening and she wishes her husband or her partner will calm down and have this talk and just try to reassess things, what will be the best tip you can give from a man's point of view to this woman that wants to really make it work, because whether she's married, children or not, whatever it is, what would be your point?
Good question.
That's a difficult conversation, because every relationship and every person is so unique and different. For Me, I have to first understand what makes a person tick before I can really give advice to an individual, male or female. If I know clearly what makes my wife tick, and in once I know that, I can look at um, talking about our relationship, and I can be creative and constructive in doing and kind of building those relationships. But I don't know that there's really a generic conversation that I can have other than getting really clear on who you are and what it is that you actually want. Sometimes just telling the freaking truth about what it is that you want opens the door to understanding more about who you are and what makes you tick. I need excitement and adrenaline on a regular basis. That's non-negotiable for me. It's non-negotiable, right? That's a little bit different with Tracy, but we have to marry some of those things and make those things work. I think to answer your question though, I think that men or women, I think they just need to get really clear and honest with who they are and stop fucking hiding. Sorry, hiding, right? The reality of it
Naked people, be naked. Show your true self.
we just hide who we really are and what it is that we really want. I mean, I'm sure you guys will have these conversations where it's like, well, even sexual talk. How many times have you spoken with somebody that's like, I'm just gonna hide this feeling inside of me. I'm not gonna communicate it to him or her. It's inside of me. God forbid I actually communicate that's inside of me, right? I
But something that really helped us too, I think, was love languages. So understanding, well, he could love me and how I could love him, and how, because his gifts are acts of service, and I didn't know that about him, because he would always say that when you told him something or when you sing for him, it was patronizing, when really it's what he wanted. So it was a big change for us in our relationship, that for me to be able to show him how I love him, and how you could show me how you love me. So
yeah, I think if I can speak for you, I think that understanding how each of us work
yeah.
is paramount to having these conversations. I just don't think that we do enough regular diving into who we are.
Yeah.
Here, I'm here. I don't know what happened. I'm here.
Oh.
Can you see me? I could hear you and see you.
Nice. I just happen to be fascinated by human behavioral psychology. I love to understand what makes people tick, and I've always been fascinated why I thrive in certain environments and why I feel like I'm barely breathing in others. And then I can see this. It's not that I'm emotional or not emotional, but I can see when she's thriving and when she's not. And it's frustrating for me if I don't understand how to assist in that. I'm just going to use my lens and I'm going to force it upon her, and I'm going to take this round peg and jam it through a square. Like, it doesn't work. So I just, men and women, at some point in time, you have to invest in understanding what not only makes them tick, but what makes the two of them. I don't think there's any way around it. And if it's working, there's no point in going any further unless you really want to continue to expand. One of my purposes in life is that I need to continue to expand and pull forward and grow, and that's something that we share. I think that that will never stop for the two of us. But I think that if something isn't quite working, first of all, it just has to be the conversation. And most people don't want to say something's not working. That feels very uncomfortable to say that. We're so comfortable with saying that it's part of our weekly conversation. What's not working right now?
Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, the thing is, just like you said, and I feel that for most people that want coaching for relationships, I'm like, listen, you have to work on yourself first. Then that other person needs to work on themselves first. And then you can come together and work together and master plan. But you cannot come super injured to another because there is not the other person's job to fix you or heal you or put a band-aid on. I mean, maybe a band-aid, but but not so that we just, a lot of people don't want to take the time. When I do the mastermind or do things, they're like, we're gonna spend 8 hours working on what I really want in life. No, come on. I just want to watch football. Leave me alone. So it's. And I hear it all the time, but they don't realize what is at stake. And I think what you're saying here is there's so much at stake. You don't know. You don't know until you're there, until something throws you off the thing and you lose it all, and then you realize your children are gonna be raised by some other dude. It's just, that's the only way I can put it in a very
what you just said there, Aura, what you just said there though is that I just don't think that men in general understand what it takes to invest in their foundation.
Yeah.
I will be the first to say that I didn't understand that. I never witnessed it. I
thought as long as you were providing,
as long as I
could be there.
Yep. As long as I busted my ass and I put food on the table, I'm doing my job. That's my role. That's all that I understood. Just like people will seek out chiropractic care because they're in pain. We deal with things reactively because we don't know any better. Now, we all know now that that's ridiculous to go to a chiropractor when you're in pain. You go to a chiropractor so you can function optimally and you can stay that way. We don't think about that when it pertains to marriage and fulfillment. And the lack of continual growth is part of the problem that I see in most people in general.
Yeah, and that goes for women too, okay? Because I see way too many people, too many women that are like so worked up about this wedding, right? So worked up about everything, and they're forgetting that after those 4 hours of the reception, you're gonna live with this dude. Like, if they stop working on that because the wedding is over, and then the hype is over, and then what are you working towards? Because you never sat down to even figure out the plan. I think I mentioned to you guys, I read somewhere that like Chinese couples, they sit and like they go over like, I don't know, like 200 or a lot more questions before they even make a decision. They have to go through all those questions to really get to know their plan of life before they even consider being a couple. Forget about the butterflies. They come later after we answer the 200 questions. But I think Tiana, we're just not taking the time to figure out. We get so busy with everything and we get distracted and we fall in love sometimes just to fill a void or because we don't even want to take a look at ourselves. But you guys are awesome. And I know you're late for a date and you decided to still talk to me even though you have your beautiful date on Friday. I want to almost join you guys. Anyhow, you guys are awesome. If people need to reach you, because I want people to reach you and tell you how great you are and ask you questions because you need to inspire more couples. And if I can have you here as many times as I can to inspire more people to do this work, I will, because I feel it's so important. So where can they reach you guys?
Probably the easiest place to reach me is just on Facebook. My Facebook account is Dr. Ryan, all one word, Boyle.
Confusing. Yes.
I know. So Ryan.
Dr. Ryan Doyle and Tracy Doyle. You guys are terrific. Keep doing the work. Don't ever get lazy. But I know you won't. I know you won't. Because you have too much at stake. And you know what, it can be lost. And you've already been near there. And it's not a pretty sight. Trust me. I vouch from being there several times. Anyhow, so thank you so much for preaching about relationships, for sharing of your time with me and your knowledge. I love and appreciate you. Everybody that said hi and commented, please keep commenting, sharing away. We will get to your comments eventually. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. Stay naked, stay true. Have a blessed Friday evening, everyone. Ciao.
Bye, Aura.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.